Hello lovely crafty friends, welcome to Love Builds Up Crafts. I am Sasha and today we'll be crafting with the Tonic Studios Hungry Honey Bear Stamp Club set. So I've got a fun reel over on Instagram showing you a few of the samples that I made. So if you're not following me over on Instagram, this is a good time to do so. Also, this is a good time to subscribe to the channel, of course, and please like this video after you finished watching it. So today we're going to be making this tree trunk treat box, gift box, snack box, whatever you want it to be. Okay, so let's get crafty. So your stamp club will come in an envelope like this. Hopefully yours won't be scribbled like that, it will be actually proper. So it comes in a plastic wallet. Both of those will be in the plastic wallet, and as you can see there are a lot of stamps and dies. It's such a vast stamp set. I'm really so happy with this stamp set. I just love it. I was asked to make birthday party invites, and I sort of went out of my way and I made little treat boxes as well. So I tried to use all the stamps, but I couldn't use much of the sentiment since it was for a birthday invite, and I also used most of the dies as well. Okay, so what's really interesting to know is that there's a die to die cut all of the stamped images except the little paw prints and like the music stamp thing, music note stamp thing. Those don't have dies, but then there's also extra dies. There's like 2 honey drips and then the tree slices, which is what we're going to be using today. So we're going to go ahead and die cut our trunk slices out of some Kraft Perfect Craft card from Tonic Studios, of course. And what you're going to need is 2 of the big ones and 1 of everything else. You're also going to need a panel of craft card that is 8.5 by 1.5 inches, and then another one that is 8.5 by 2.5 inches. We'll also need some acetate. The one I'm using here is from Fawn, because normally I'd use the heavyweight stuff from Tonic, but it's too good for this project. Okay, it's too strong for this project. We need something with a bit more flex. So the Fawn one is perfect because it's sturdy but it's still flexible enough for us to get the job done. Okay, so let's get to the making. So we'll start by scoring at 1 centimeters on our 1.5-inch panel of craft card, and then we'll burnish that and release it a bit so that it's flexible enough for us to go ahead and take our bone folder and just use it to curl our little panel of craft card, and this will help us to be able to fold it into that circular shape that we need. So once this is done, go ahead and grab your tiny little scissors and just create these little triangular cuts right to that scored line, and this will give us the tabs that we'll need to be able to stick down our circle shape onto the large piece of tree slice. I'd forgot what I was saying there. Of course. Anyway, go ahead and add some red line tape to one of your edges there, and then to all of your tabs. Then we're going to release the backing of that and stick it together so that we create like a complete circle, and this will be the base for your tree trunk. Go ahead and release the backing from the tabs and add some liquid glue, and this is so that when we position it, we're still able to wriggle it around if we need to, because sometimes you might not position it in the right place, but it's not that big of a deal because we're going to cover that up anyway. So I'm just showing you there that you can put a medium wood slice in the middle there so that you can cover up the tabs if you want. That's what I did with the main sample, you know, because it was going in, so you want to impress the bosses, hey. So anyway, go ahead and repeat that curling thing with your bone folder to the larger piece of craft card, the 2.5-inch panel, and that's going to sit in the middle there to like extend our box. So that's the bit that you need to make larger if you want a bigger box. So anyway, grab your mousse and we're going to prep it. We're just going to like what you do with butter, just like move it around a bit. And for this, I think you need a metal spatula. palette knife, whatever you want to call it, because the rubber one is too flex, so you won't be able to do what you need to do because it's just too flex. What you need to do is scoop up a load of your mousse and then push it down to the bottom, or just scoop it to the bottom and then pull it to the top, because we need most of it at the bottom there, because that's going to create like that thickness that you get around a tree trunk. So go ahead and just push it down to the bottom and then pull it up to the top, or whichever way is comfortable for you. This is the way I did it. And don't worry about making a mess, because you can always cover up that bottom with another wood slice. So all you're focusing on is just getting that mousse on in a nice layer. It doesn't even have to be neat because it's a tree, and as you can see, we're going to use the side of the palette knife to add texture there. You can also use the tip of your palette knife like that, just flat down, and don't be afraid to add more mousse to like neaten up your work, but just go ahead and just score these little lines around your tree trunk, and that will give us that beautiful tree trunky texture that we want. Okay, so once you're happy with your tree sculpting there, yeah, because we're no longer crafting here, come on guys, we're sculpting, okay. So once you're happy with that, go ahead and heat it up, and you'll just see your expanding mousse puff up and give like this glorious texture. Guys, I love expanding mousse. Gets me so excited every time. Something else that you need to do is to keep shaping your tree trunk. So whilst you're heating it, it's still malleable, so just mold it so that it maintains that shape, that circular shape, and make sure you focus a lot of your heat on that bottom bit, because that's where you have most of the mousse. You can even squeeze it just to test that it's fully dry. If it's not, you're going to feel it immediately, because sometimes the top layer might be dry but then the bottom might still be wet. So make sure that you're squeezing it and testing. So I'm just taking my spatula there just to test if it's really dry. There are so many ways to see if it's really dry, but just make sure you focus most of your heat on that bottom bit. So once you've let your tree trunk cool down after all that heat, you're going to go ahead and grab your Nuvo alcohol markers, or whatever alcohol markers you have. So I've got rich walnut and vintage walnut. Those are the only two colors you'll need. I had some blacks out there just in case I needed to darken it a bit more, but I didn't in the end. So you only need two colors, like a deep brown and then a reddish brown. That's all you need. So I'm going to start off with my deep brown, which is the rich walnut, 465 in the Tonic Nuvo markers, and I'm just filling in the color. In some areas you have to press it in to get it into those crevices, but for most of the areas you're just going to glide it over that mousse and it will color it. So we're going to go ahead and do some speed coloring, because this does take a while. This is the bit of this make that probably is the fussiest and takes the longest time. So then once that is done, you have something like this. Yeah, it looks a lot patchy, but don't worry about that, because now you're going to take your second color and make sure you fill in all those white patches. That's what the second color is for. So you can see I'm going in with the side of my marker, and I'm pressing into some of the areas where I can't, where the side of the marker won't go in. So I'm just going to slow that down so that you can see in real time. So guys, I'm so super proud of this project, but I also know that this is not something that is for mass production. So unless you have like a lot of time on your hands and you just want to go do this over and over again, but I would say just make it maybe for your child on their birthday, or you want to give them a special gift. But it's something that I wanted to share with you guys because I'm so in love with it. So I was like, oh my god, I need to show everyone how to make this. I was so excited when it came out this way. So anyway, go ahead and continue adding more of that reddish color into the crevices. This is really what makes that different texture, because the colors as well, the different colors add to the texture. And once you're done, you have something like this. Now look at that. see what I mean about the different colors adding to the texture. We're also going to work on adding texture to the top of our tree. So I'm just grabbing a light brown marker 461 hazelnut truffle in the Nuvo markers, and I'm just going to do some rough alcohol marker coloring. So I know you might be screaming like, oh my god, we gotta use alcohol markers. No, trust me, no, this doesn't require any skill. You're just going to move your marker up and down like that, and that just gives it like this tree trunky texture. Well, I think so anyway. I'm not an expert in alcohol markers either, but you can do this. Come on, trust me. So you can already see that it's looking tree trunky, so you could just leave it like that. But because I am team extra, of course, I'm just drawing a line there so that I know where to color up to, because I don't need to color anything that's going to be covered by the bottom bit. And then I'm just grabbing this dark brown coloring pencil. I'm using my Prisma coloring pencils. I will link the exact colors in the description, and I'm just doing like this rough, really rough coloring of these dark brown lines, and then I'm coming in with a lighter brown color, and this is to smooth out those rough brown lines. It's just a little cheat trick. So once you're done with that, you're going to take that same light brown marker and you're just going to go crazy up and down just like before, and look at that. Doesn't that just amp up the whole tree texture thing? And these are the things that just makes me so happy. Like, it's extra work, but when it comes out, it's like, oh my god, mama, I made a tree out of paper. Yay. Not the other way around, because paper is made out of trees. How ironic. So anyway, guys, you can see the texture is like so beautiful, right? It was worth all that extra work. So add your red line tape to the edge there, and this time I'm going to add a bit of liquid adhesive just in case I need to move it around, because that needs to be slightly smaller than the bigger ring so that it will sit in the on the inside. So you can see there that's too big, so I'm just going to move it a bit, move my seal a bit to make it smaller, and that fits in perfectly. So there you go. I don't have measurements for this bit, guys. I'm not a measurement type of person. Let's try it and see if it works. So I'm just going to add some liquid glue there to the bottom bit. So it was really good that we drew that line, because now I know where to add the glue up to. And I'm just taking a piece of paper to just remove that glue that has seeped out. It's not a big deal because that also adds to the texture of the tree, but then the problem is that it looks like white and gloopy, and that's really ugly. So if you can, remove it. If you can't, that's still fine. You know, you can always color it with your brown marker and disguise it. So this is another step that is completely team extra, but then I really like the detail that it adds. So I'm just taking my pencil and just adding just a layer of coloring, of shading, sorry, not coloring, with my pencil, and then I'm rubbing it in, and this just gives like this dark ring around that bottom edge. I like that. I like the way it looks, but you can totally skip this because this is totally team extra, and if you're not extra, please don't give yourself extra work. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and texture our tree slices. Woo! Guys, like I say, this is a advanced craft because it's a lot of little things that come together to make one little but cute and super textured thing. So anyway, I'm taking my brown marker and I'm just finding that, sorry, brown coloring pencil, and I'm just finding that embossed edge and just running that coloring pencil over it just to darken it. See, I like that the edge of those slices are embossed because it makes it really easy to just find that edge and darken it like so. So once you're done with that, you're going to take your marker, the same light brown one, and just go over all that coloring that you just did. And this is the same way we added texture to that tree trunk earlier, but we're just doing it to the tree slices. And when you're done with that, you're going to go ahead and take a light brown coloring pencil and just soften the edge of that. You don't have to do this, okay, if you don't want, but these are the things that like really nag at me, so I've just got to make sure that it's perfect. I'm sorry. So if you don't want, you don't have to do this part, but then you can skip on to the next part, which is also not necessary, but I'll just be taking my pencil and just darkening that ring there, like the edge of my ring, and then adding a few like ring lines on there, because trees have like these ring lines, right? They do, yeah. So anyway, this is an extra step that is not necessary, but then once you're done with these steps, you can now add some foam tape in between your layers. I use these foam strips from Amazon and they're so cool because you can wrap them around in any shape that you want, and they're so brilliant for shaker cards, which are my favorite. But anyway, before I go on a tangent, go ahead and stick that on top of the coordinating slice, and then do that with the other one. So your 3 slices are going to be stuck on top of each other with foam tape, but for these last 2 you're just going to glue them to each other without adding any foam tape. So to make the rest of our lid, I'm just scoring my acetate there at 1 centimeter, and then I'm going to go ahead and burnish that. For acetate, we don't need to curl it with the bone folder because it will naturally curve, but you do need to add the tabs at the bottom. For this, you need to make sure that that tip of the triangle really reaches or touches that score line. Otherwise, your shape will be wonky when you go ahead to try and make a circle out of it. So I've added some red line tape to the edge there, and then I'm just going to wrap it around my trunk so that I can see where I need to seal it. And once I've stuck that down, we have a lid. Yay! So look at that. You need to leave a bit of space around the lid. It doesn't need to be like a tight fit, so that you can pop it on and off. And then you can see there I've added some liquid adhesive to the tab part so that I can then put it over the slice but still have room to move it around. Okay, I'm lagging now. I'm just doing the voiceover and I'm actually lagging. But anyway, our lid is all done now. Just make sure you take time to like really press down those tabs and make sure they're really stuck. So to make the tassel, I'm just taking my yellow baker's twine from Tonic Studios and I'm just wrapping it around my fingers, but I'm spreading out my fingers. I'm not having them tied. It's up to you how you make your tassels. This is how I make them, and if you know how to make a tassel, you can also fast forward this bit. But after I've wrapped the twine around a couple of times, I'm then going to take the end there that I've just snipped off and shove it through that hole there that you just saw in my fingers and pull it through the other side and give it a bit of some extra twine there before making a knot. The knot doesn't have to be tight, but just make a knot and then slip that off your hand, and then now you can tighten the knot. Make sure the knot is really tight, and you can double knot it, triple knot it, 4-time knot it, quad knot it even if you want, but I just do it twice and then I'm going to snip that off. So the reason why I'm leaving all that extra twine is because we need to hang our tag, so that's why I'm leaving all that extra twine. But I'm going to go ahead and just snip off those bits there, like so. I don't know what to call those bits, the ends, whatever. So I'm just snipping them like that, and I'm going to tidy it up with my scissors like so and fold it in half and then tidy it some more. I probably shouldn't have because I ended up over tidying it and it was a bit lopsided, but I'm not going to start again, no way. I'm just going to pretend like I didn't see that it's lopsided. But anyway, I'm taking one of my long pieces of twine and just wrapping it under my head, my thumb, sorry, not my head, under my thumb and then over my thumb to create a loop. Under my head, yeah, that's cool. So once your tassel is done, I'm just grabbing my top 3 slices there and I'm going to poke a hole through it. You can of course use your hole punch, but I opted for the pokey tool because I wanted a smaller hole, but just make sure you don't pokey your fingers. Okay, and I'm just pushing that twine through there from one of the hanging ends that I left, and I'm going to pull it through but leave enough room for the tassel to hang there because that's what we're going to use to open our box. And then I'm going to add a double layer of foam tape to the back of those 3 slices that we stuck together earlier, and then make another hole on my acetate tag. Now I do make the acetate tag in this video because this video is already too long and my analytics show me that you guys are not going to watch it all this way, so which is the truth. Okay, so I don't want to make it any longer than it needs to be, but I'm just going to go ahead and make a couple of knots there to make sure that my tag is nice and secure, and then I'm going to snip that off and stick it down onto the top of the other 3 slices, and that is our tree done, guys. So I'm really happy about this project. It just makes my heart sing. I just love it so much, and it's been a while since I felt like that with my crafts. So you can add wood slices there to cover up the tabs. I didn't do it for this one, but I did it for the original one because of time constraints. I couldn't do it with this one, but I'm just showing you that you can pop a small pot of honey in there, or glimmer paste or some pills, or some, like, you can do a little care package if somebody's not feeling well and pop in some of those honey sweeties that makes our throat all happy. I really love this, but in the original one I popped some sweets in there so that it can be like little gift packs, or favor boxes are they called, for the kids to take home after the party. That's why it says thank you very much. But this is the project, guys, and I really thank you for watching till the end. Please make sure you like this video and spread it around because that helps the algorithm like me.